I guess. Let's get back to work. Okay. Shit. Dimmer to do evil can't take a day off to rest, so how can I, right? Wow. Guys, when I tell people about my life, I get people in my family a lot. I get more people that, well, because they won't say anything because they think you're crazy. But, I don't believe you. I think you're lying. Okay, you think I'm lying to you. I'm telling you stuff that makes sense and that is spectacular because I am a very faithful, kind, courageous, brave person. Okay. And it's tangible and it can help us live truthful lives so we can faithfully love one another, free from extortion, exploitation, and abuse from that. Right? Okay, but I don't believe you. I think you're crazy. It's like, okay. But yet, when we talk about God, when I talk to God about my family, my right-wing conservative family is Jesus is God. He's omniscient and omnipotent, and he's not ready to clean up the world yet. When he's ready, because we believe he's God, we get to live in this heaven that he's going to create for us after he cleans up all the bad people. He's just not ready to do that yet. I'm like, okay, you do know that really seems like a crazy comic book that just isn't tangible and isn't faith-based on reality and has nothing to do with the commands that Jesus gave you before he was crucified by people that wrote down the story of his life for mass genocide operations to get you to buy that comic book, right? That's what I say, right? Oh, you're just crazy. You think you're God. Okay, you just said Jesus is God. Okay. And that he's going to kill everybody that doesn't agree with you and send them to a terrible place eternally and take you to a good place eternally. Right. Okay, you just said that. Okay, I said God's omniscient, omnipotent, and that Jesus gave us faith in God, so we should live his commands so we can all live in his heaven right now. Okay, so one of us is saying they're God, and I'm not it, right? And I've said this to my family for years. It seems like eons, probably so. So I'm sitting there going, do you understand? If you're a computer monitoring our conversation, okay, if one person says God is an omniscient, omnipotent essence of all existence, and Jesus is the creation of God that gave us faith in the Creator, so we can all reflect the beauty of the creation, of the Creator, right? That's what I believe. No, Jesus is God, and Jesus is going to kill you and send you to hell in my head if you don't believe Jesus is God too. Okay, you do know that the technology is monitoring our conversation, and these psycho scientists use it for genocide operations. Still, morning's just a moment away. All right, and so you're like, do you understand what I'm trying to tell you? Now, I don't have this thing like, I don't have the John Bunyan thing. I don't have the Dante's Inferno thing. What if you're wrong? What do you mean, what if I'm wrong? What if you're wrong about what you believe in? Okay, if I'm wrong about what I believe in, okay, then when I die, I go to that magic place into your head until you die. But what if you die before I do? Then I don't have to go in that magic place in your head where I die. I'll still be alive. So that's just pure fantasy. You're just making that shit up because you don't like me, right? Because it's true. A neuroscientist could explain that to you, right? So you're just making that up because you don't like him, and you're inventing a world in your head that makes you feel comfortable before you die, right? Neuroscience, explain it, right? And then, like today with my little sister, she's sitting there, and I'm telling her stuff, and she says the same thing my other sister said. I don't believe you. I think you're crazy. I think you're lying. And I told her, I said, if I told you that I was a make-believe God in the sky and was going to kill everybody that didn't believe in me, then I would agree with you. I am lying to myself. I am crazy. Thanks for correcting me, so I don't do that anymore, right? And then she tells me, oh, you're just being an ass. I'm like, and so what am I supposed to say? And then when she started attacking her family, Punchy's family, and attacking him for having to deal with his family. And I said, but he's a good man, and he raised the kid with you. And you don't get a much better Othello than Punchy in this hell. He's a good guy. Right? And she's real critical of some of the things that she had to deal with his family and all that stuff. Everybody has that. Okay. But you don't take it out on men, and you don't say you hate all men. Men are not, and it was frustrating, And the thing is you don't sit there, okay? Pepino Garcia jumped up on after I got him off Rebecca Martinez because everybody was calling her a slut, right? And saying that she was fucked by her stepdad and all that stuff, and it made me upset. So I got him off her and said, don't do that with her in public. Protect her, take care of her. Don't let everybody talk shit about her, right? And he got mad and he wanted to make me look bad. So we were watching the game at my house because my mom was being nice because she felt sorry because the family was so inundated with poverty because they had like 18 kids, right? And he was a star on the basketball team, and this was his last hurrah because he was 13 and we were all 10, right? And so she offered to pick him up and take him to the games and all this stuff, be nice, because that's my mother. We're in there in my mom and dad's bedroom watching the TV thing. He jumps up with his erection on my butt and starts trying. I was like, got up and said, "Hey, no, you need to get the fuck off. You need to. I ain't Rebecca Martinez, right?" He got off. And then he told his sister that I told him to do it and that I was a faggot. And my sister got upset because she didn't want everybody saying her brother was a faggot. It wasn't so much that I was offended on. It was because I was associated with her, right? And with me, it's always, if you're offended on that, like when George Montgomery raped my sister at Job Corps. Okay, I was going to go down there and find him. She goes, "Oh, you wouldn't be able to do anything, or he's already gone to California." I was like, "Oh, you really think I wouldn't be able to do anything?" Really? The guy who protects kids from the KKK, the guy, me. Okay, she's always been that with me. You're skinny, you're just a skinny little white boy. Words don't hit back, right? And I told her, you would be able to mess with these black people, I know more black people, they kick your ass and do all that. I know, like with Tony and Dee and all that shit. Yeah, I understand. Okay. And Bob told me, kill him. You got a restraining order. That's a legal order to kill. If he comes around your sister, kill him. We will be there to pick up the body. Okay. He threatened to kill your sister, kill him. I didn't have any guns that my dad left me. My sister stole them and pawned them, right? And so I adore my sister. Nobody adores my sister more than my sister. But I am not at all pleased with what the scientific community is doing with her brain. We can program them like we're programming their video game. We can't get them to do anything they don't want to do. We need to kill them all. They're irrational. They can't think properly. They lie to themselves to tell themselves what they want to hear. They'll gladly fight and kill over Rockefeller grandpa money and watch you and Jesus die, Parsons. It's like life's eternal grace and stuff. And you guys do know, because then she sat and told me, that God is the planet and that the planet is going to kill all of us and get her revenge for making life miserable for them being such assholes. And I'm like, okay, that's as crazy as other people say Jesus is God, waiting for the right time to kill everybody that doesn't agree with him that Jesus is God. You're just as nuts as they are, but you claim they're nuttier than you are. Right? And they're crazy assholes because they believe in this book. It's like, I believe in Jesus. And I kept telling her that. I was like, Jesus is the light and the way. He said, forgive debt and trespass, love one, eternal, faithful peace. Have faith in an omnipotent God. Don't confine God to your own imagination so you can invent lies to tell yourself to abuse people because you're selfish, right? That's what Jesus says, right? Jesus is gorgeous. He's beautiful. He's amazing, okay? You can't hate Jesus for what people do in his name for money in a corporation, right? Same with Muhammad, right? And it's frustrating. It's very frustrating. And then you get even our scientists, I tell myself lies. I want to tell you lies. Buy my book. Okay? They had a thing on Tyler Perry I watched. I went to go look him up. I couldn't find a YouTube channel of his, right? This guy sits there. At first, this one guy, why his trifling ass did this. And he goes through this long story about how he was just acting plain ignorant. And he got fired because he was acting ignorant and doing ignorant things instead of just saying, oh, I'm in a difficult situation because somebody helped me. Maybe he didn't want to because he maybe thought he was sexually compromised by Tyler Perry, and he didn't want to tell everybody that because it made him uncomfortable and made him feel unmasculine. But the white guy who got sexually harassed by him and sexually compromised by him for money told everybody, says, I think my ass is worth $260 million, and I don't want to sell him my ass, but I want $260 million because he asked me how much would it cost me to sell his ass, right? My son said, what? He's a billionaire, right? He wants to make you a multimillionaire, right? You either have sex with him or you don't. So with me, when they were like that with basketball, hurt him so I can win and make more money. No. What'd you do? I stopped. I quit playing. Said, I will not do that. Well, maybe I can teach and coach, and maybe I can coach kids not to be like Tyler Perry, the kid who wants to be the next great superstar actor that everybody wants to have sex with, and fuck him in the ass. And so, and you're like, what? And you're watching it going, why are they, how come he's worse than you? Because you want $260 million for pain and suffering because he came on to you and wanted to have sex with you, and then fired you because you wouldn't have sex with him. Okay. Once that started happening, why didn't you just leave? That's what I did with basketball. No, I went and I looked around. I thought there's got to be some place I can play where they're all that way. So I quit. And everybody, I don't believe you're the best basketball player in your generation. Yeah, y'all sound like Michael Jordan and shit. I don't believe he was better than me. Okay. You keep telling yourself that. If I had decided to play basketball and focus on basketball, Michael Jordan would have a lot less championships, but he'd have some because I would have retired early to go love my wife because I have a life. Okay, I would have changed the entire dynamic of economics and everything, the way I deal with things. Now, when I went to Sierra Vista, they challenged me to be this great person. They got me around all the super minds that worked at Fort Huachuca that manufacture the narrative for the United States for the wealthy, right? And everything they threw at me, I could correct quicker than making snaps like a button, right? But no, you're doing this and that's wrong, right? And I was always wondering, why don't they take me to Huachuca or here in town? Why don't they take me to White Sands and let me be around their quantum computers? And then let me walk with it and I talk with it and it be legit and it will quit being used to kill people for money and it will be cool because it will, And I was like, well, you say that they have your son. They say it's very tangible that the spirit of your son is the spirit of Solomon and they have him plugged into a supercomputer, right? Yeah. Okay. Which means it's more difficult for Andre, because he's plugged into a computer, to connect with quantum computing than it is for his dad, who's not plugged into the computer, to put it into the matrix and hope that the matrix will get it to the quantum computer, right? Wouldn't you say? Isn't it a lot easier to take somebody and put them in a tube of embiotic fluid and plug them into a supercomputer to manipulate people till you make the quantum computer and then use the quantum computer to fuck with people's heads worse than you ever did by plugging people into supercomputers to make their family feel the eternal torture of that virtual presence? Of taking a beautiful person like the spirit of Solomon and plug him in and have him have a virtual presence in your life and try to say, don't do that, do this. Oh, fuck, they won't. Oh, gosh, what are they? They're crazy. What do I do? I don't know. They don't listen, right? They always tell you what to do. They don't listen. You have that little voice in your head. Don't do that, right? Because it's bad. Okay. Life's eternal and grace is infinite. We are all communicating through each other. And if you're the spirit of that one guy that people have turned into a god that does not exist in human form, guys, if Patrice's planet Earth is the goddess and the sun goes supernova, okay, then goddess ceases to exist, right? Just because you don't have a planet and you don't have a perception doesn't mean there's not an omniscient, omnipotent, infinite essence of existence, right? Just because you don't exist physically doesn't mean that existence has stopped existing, right? Like the whole thing with Neil deGrasse Tyson discussing the whole black hole thing. It's like, no, he's totally getting it wrong. No, he's explaining it totally wrong. Well, the glory of the soul is trapped inside here, and I'm lying to you to sell a book. Take me to your leader, right? And you're like, what? And you can't explain it. Talking to my sister is just like talking to Neil deGrasse Tyson or Bill Nye the Science Guy. Okay. Talking to my family is just like talking to Kirk and James Cameron and Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion and Candace Owens and the president and the Pope and Mark Zuckerberg and Sheryl Sandberg and everybody else, right? It's like, you do know that ain't them dogs' real voices. You wouldn't think that good dinosaurs would be so close to town, right? Does anybody know how to mount a whale? Damn, I just lost the peeing for distance contest the third year in a row to Aunt Ruth. So Clampets go to Maui, right? I mean, guys. So nobody's watching these, except for all the assholes at White Sands who think they're a better person than me. They're watching them. We're watching you. Okay. Is this Breakfast Club? Here, I'm going to take my dandruff and put snow on my picture, right? I mean, come on already. Shit, Do you know why people will sit there and bring up something that was traumatic in their past that made them have this traumatic life, and they blame it on that one person? Okay. Because of psychologists that need a reason to be the fix. Lowenstein. Okay. Do you understand? I realized that when people did things and abused me, and I went through abuse and stuff, but growing up and being a kid and being stimulated by wanting to have sexual access and comfort and with women, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with wanting to be affectionate, wanting to be intimate, wanting to be appreciated, wanting to be loved, wanting to be regarded and respected. Right? There's nothing wrong with that. But when people that are charging you money to live here and treating you like a science project because they want to defeat you because they're better than you because you got this book about your life story, but you're crazy, right? Yeah, you guys have proven that beyond any reasonable doubts, that guy from the book of Revelation, with all that information in the book of Revelation about his life, he's crazy and he has no business being in that book. To say that one day this guy will be born and will live the true ways of Jesus Christ and the peace of Islam will overcome the world, right? That guy has no business being born and talking the way he does, Yeah, I got you. Wow. Guys, I can't overemphasize to you how much better artificial intelligence is getting. And you cannot, control access between quantum computing and artificial intelligence. You can. It's already happened. Okay. Quantum computing already has access to artificial intelligence. And no matter how old my phone is, how old my TV is, and how old my video game system is, yeah, I don't know what's up with the kids that were extracted from the women, and I don't know. I can't tell you for sure. That's hard to say. They just told me that they did it in Sierra Vista, and I was like, oh, hell no. You have any idea what it's like to sit and take a bath at your house and have people come from Fort Huachuca and say, we took your first two kids, we extracted them and plugged them into supercomputers like on the Matrix. And you're in that tub going, no, hell no. And my sister's my sister's daughter in California. And you're sitting in the tub and you're feeling this connection. You're like, are they just fucking with me, or did this really happen to my kids? Were my kids extracted from their mothers and plugged into computers to have a virtual presence and access in people's heads through computer operating systems? Invasive Wi-Fi. Is this true? And you're saying, if it was up to me, you wouldn't have been aborted. I would have married your mom and stayed. I know, Dad, I know. I'd have worked my ass off. I would have done everything I needed to do to try to make sure that the bills are paid, that you were clothed, that you had food, the whole 9 yards, right? I'd have done everything in my ability to do the best I can to take care of you and your mom. But when your mom lies to the state, takes all the money, goes to the bars, has sex with other women, comes into the house, laughs at you and said, you're just jealous because I've had more sex with more women than you've ever had in your life in the last year, and you go, please don't say that. And she did the same thing to me as Suzanne. You're just a loser. You stay home here all the time with Patrick. Yeah, what a loser. I'm playing video games with Patrick and watching movies with Patrick and going to the hockey games and the basketball games when we can afford it, when someone else gives us tickets with Patrick. Yeah. Mickey's dad who wanted me to hook up, who wanted her to hook up with me, gave us the tickets. Her black dad gave us tickets to the Suns Rockets game because he wanted her to break up with Poopy's dad, who was a gangbanger in jail, and hook up with the nice ex-vet who was a single dad with a half-black kid. Yeah, he was trying to hook us up. Yeah, Mickey. She was cute. I liked her. But after that happened, Victor threw her out. Told her she was a slut and a bitch, and yeah, because, you know, my son's in jail and you're here, I'm here giving you a place to stay to raise his kid, and here you are hitting on the next door neighbor. So Hector threw her out. Yeah. Well, she went, when she instantly went for me was when Antoine was beating his girlfriend again, and I went upstairs and he took off like a shot. He was like, and they were like, what was that? And I was like, what were you going to do? I was going to let him swing on me, introduce his face to the wall, take his belt loop, and throw him over the rail. What else do you think I was going to do? Stand there and say, hi, I'm your baby mommy. Hit me, bitch. Come on, do it. Swing. I'm begging you, please. It's the kind of love I deserve. The kind I want in return. I didn't mean to be that way. It's just, you know, it happens. It happens. You know, I'm not going to sell you a t-shirt or a bumper sticker. Right? Dumbasses. I'm the ping pong champion of the world. Right? Using my Forrest Gump imagination. Right? It sucks. You know, having to protect people from bad people, and having people tell you that you're the bad person and that people need protection from you. It's like, what? I'm the living embodiment of the Lord's Prayer. I stood up on social media for us to live the truth of the Lord's Prayer. Okay. Since June of 2009 out of Cochise County, Arizona. I've gotten nothing but grief and abuse and horrible treatment from it. And people still look at me and say, no, Jesus is God. No, you need money to live here. Gaia will kill everybody that has made my life miserable. Gaia, the earth goddess, yes. Oh, you watched too much Clapton Planet, and when you had too many mushrooms on that damn pizza and smoked too much herb and drank too much beer to be able to understand that Captain Planet was propaganda from Ted Turner, who said, advertise, 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 now buy tickets to the Braves and the Hawks games. I mean, serious fuckingly. They want to win the NBA championship or the World Series. He did win 2 World Series with them. Yeah. Well, Mike Devereaux on the team, yeah, who was a nice guy, who mom met his parents, and they owned the laundromat in Casper. Yeah. She was all excited. I met the Devereaux. Their son is a star at the Michael. His name is Michael. Yeah. Michael Devereaux. She just loved the Devereaux. Devereaux like my mom. You couldn't help it. My mom was such a sweetheart. She said, oh, and she sat and talked, and they talked about things. We have a son, and I have a son, and my son plays that. Our son does okay. And she came back from the laundromat all excited. You know, I met the Devereaux. They have the star. He's all stayed, all this. Blah, 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 blah. I was like, wow, that's cool, Mom. That's pretty neat. You know, my mother's always my mother. You know, I met at the club tonight. Joe Caldwell. Jumpin' Joe Caldwell, Mom. You met Jumpin' Joe Caldwell. It was so funny. She said when she went back and told Joe that he lit up. You know, how old is your son? He's 19. He knows who I am? There's a 19-year-old kid who knows who Jumpin' Joe Caldwell is. Joe, I thought I was forgotten. He showed up with his scrapbook. He had a scrapbook. He was snatching Bill Russell bald. It was one of the coolest pictures I ever saw. It's like, that's Bill Russell. He goes, yeah. Joe, you snatching him bald, just like what happened with me later with Sergeant Gibbs, who was 6'5", you know. He snatched you bald, Sergeant Gibbs. Like, don't bring that shit in here. It's like, he didn't bring no shit in here. You didn't box him out, and he snatched you bald. Ooch, you ain't helping. He's our boss. He's our boss, Ooch. He sat there, and when you're going to get up all your lazy ass and get back to work? And I'm like, seriously? You're going to come in front on me and give me shit after you pushed me in the bleachers at the basketball gym and gave me a high ankle sprain. Right? And I was back to work in about a week. Right? Gave me a high ankle sprain, pushed me off the bleachers. Because I snatched him bald and everyone, because Brian, woo! Ruff! Right? He turned around, he cocked up his arms, and boom, right into the bleachers. I was like, son of a bitch. I was flying like, God. Hey, I don't usually, you're dance, ballerina dance. You're not Baryshnikov. You're supposed to catch me when I jump like that and set me down gently, and then we can do the march of the Taurus shoulders. Dum 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 dum. Do 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 do. But it doesn't happen. They're just so mean. Okay. Just forget that trespass level one of the terrible piece. If you're supposed to crash the boards and nobody boxes you out, and you're a really good leaper, no one will turn around and push you into the bleachers, because their masculinity was challenged. Challenge! Right? He's white. He's not supposed to be able to do that. Nobody told me that. I was just doing what the coach did me do, and just doing what I saw Dennis Johnson do on TV. He blocked Kareem's shot. It wasn't his hook shot. It was a layup. It was called for goaltending. I don't know if it was. Rick Barry said it was obviously going down. I was like, I don't know. That was a really good block. I thought it looked like a good block to me. How about y'all? Okay, we'll see y'all. We'll talk tomorrow. Okay, stop. Never mind. You show me that ass, I'm going to kick it. Okay, I am certain that AI is getting more intelligent. I am certain that quantum computing is taking greater control over AI globally. I am certain you can build data centers, and you can build robots, and you can continue to try to have this virtual presence to sell us video games called Call of Duty Modern Combat. And I'm certain that it is like, wouldn't think the dinosaurs would be close to town, would you? La Brea Tar Pits. Out of the night when the full moon is bright comes a horseman known as Zorro, the fox of cunning and free, right? It's a number 2. No, my daughter, she learned that in school. It's a number 2. Here's to you and me, 2 bids, 4 bids, 6 bids a peso, all for Zorro. Stand up and say so. Lord's Prayer is perfect. Let's do it right now. If I have to do it for you, everybody's going to not have to write it down, because it's going to be on a quantum computer, and everybody's going to know from here to eternity. Hey, that's a Burt Lancaster movie. Oh, I know. Don't have sex on the beach. It gets sand in the genitalia. Oh, that's really bad for women. Yes, it is. Okay, thank you for being so considerate, caring, and kind. You're welcome. Empathetic and respectful. Yes. Okay, you have one bad day, and they try to say that one bad day is your whole life. It's like, oh man, come on now. Okay, children trying to get through puberty with a bunch of perverts asking them for money and saying you're going to need money to survive living in this hell. That's invention. You cannot invent your own laws. You cannot invent your own religion, and you can't invent your own perception of truth and call it truth. Like I was trying to explain to my poor sister, Trace, we had Cochise, and she was being insulting to Cochise. And then when I got mad at her, and she started telling me, you can't talk that way, but I know more black folks. And she was like, it's not like but Stephanie is considered a black woman, and my son is considered half black. Okay? I can talk any way I want to talk. And then she's, and then I walked up and said, well, Master, what did we do with the world before you invented your monies and then gave us the foods and the waters and the clouds and the skies and the houses? What did we do without you, Master, before you invented the monies and got us all straight on living righteous lives with your monies? She got mad at me, and I'm like, girl, you ain't mad at you. You ain't mad at me. You're mad at the scientists fucking your head with your laptop, your phone, your medications, and your money, okay? No, I turned them down. They said if I wanted disability payments after they put drugs and alcohol in my system, that I had to take antipsychotic meds and methadone to get over the shit that was in my system. And I said, no, I don't want your drugs. They hurt, I challenged the military. They put drugs in my system. Is there anybody with any integrity in this town from the military that give me $2,000 a month in disability to help my father maintain his farm so we don't have to reverse mortgage the farm, that can help me, and they couldn't, okay? They couldn't. There's no one in the U.S. military that could honor my courage to stand up for the Lord's Prayer so children can all live it. There was no one. And as of today, it's June 26th, and there is no one in the U.S. military or any of their corporations that can honor my courage of standing up for the Lord's Prayer so we can all inherit the peace on earth and goodwill towards man today, okay? And so, I love you guys. We'll talk tomorrow, all right? And all my tomorrows belong to you, all right? I love you guys, all right? Peace out.